I never thought this would happen. I cannot sleep tonight because of how helpless I am feeling in this situation. I am an au pair. I started at 19, went to Australia and took care of 2 little girls, and loved it. After a year I came back home and went to college. But I decided that I wanted to travel again because I am interested in teaching English abroad one day. I met a really great family on an accredited website that I went to last time for my au pair match, and met a German family. They really liked me and I really liked them in the area, and I've always wanted to go to Germany, so after about 3 months of talking and making sure there was no other family I wanted to go with more, we went through with it. Now I am in Germany, and I have been here for 2 months. They have 3 children, all boys, a 1-year-old, who's the cutest thing on earth, a 14-year-old, who's friendly and sweet, and a 17-year-old, who I don't really provide much care for. He kept to himself a lot and didn't talk much with me, which I didn't mind because I'm mainly there for the 2 younger ones. But some weird things started happening. I began to notice that he started staring at me a lot whenever we were alone, or even at family dinner. He walks up to me at times and it sounds like he's asking me questions in German, but I can't understand him. The oldest boys can speak English. When I tell him I don't understand him, he just walks away. I asked his brother once what he asked, and he said it was something bad and he's told his brother to stop, but he won't listen. Then, over these past 2 weeks, he's made accidental contact with me. Sometimes he will brush up against me even when there's enough room for us to not bump into each other. 1 or 2 times, when this happened, I felt something on my waist, like his hand, but I thought maybe it was an ick. I didn't. Now that they're out of school, we're alone at the house during the day while the parents work, and sometimes when I'm playing with the baby he will come and play with the baby too, but he will be very close to me, like to the point where I have no personal space. I have had to tell him a few times to give me space, and his younger brother has even said the same thing. Still, for some reason, I thought maybe he was just shy before and was starting to get comfortable with me. I didn't want to jump to conclusions or label him as anything, so most of this I've let go. I really like hanging out with the baby and playing board games and stuff with the 14-year/0. He's a funny, nice kid. But the bad thing that really happened was yesterday. The family went for a walk, and I stayed behind because I had bad cramps. The oldest boy also said he didn't feel like walking, so he stayed behind. We were there alone, and after they had left, I tried to go to my room, but he blocked me. I kept asking him to move, but he kept blocking me. The look on his face, like he thought it was funny, scared me. He would not speak English with me when I kept asking him why he was doing this, and at this point I felt scared and went to walk the other way. I was going to hide in a bathroom until the others came back. But then he grabbed my arm and forced my body against his. I don't know if it was a forced hug or what, but I tried to pull away, but he reacted by tightening his grip, so I just froze. He let me go after a few seconds and just left the room. When the family came back, I went into my room for the night, because I felt like I would just start crying in front of them. I don't know what I should do. I feel ashamed that I couldn't fight him off, and that I'm literally being harassed by a boy so much younger than me. I'm scared to tell the host parents, because I can tell they love their son a lot, and at the end of the day I'm just a random girl that they've only known for 2 months. I'm torn because I love the younger 2 so much already, and wanted to have a good time in Germany. But this boy is acting so weird. I don't know why he went from basically ignoring me to doing this. I know that despite all of this I should probably try to talk to the host parents, probably my host mom, as I'm more comfortable sharing this with her. But I just don't know to bring that up. How to basically tell her that her son did something really weird to me. I never thought I would have to do this, or be in a situation like this, and I need some help. Please oop, yeah, that's probably the most logical solution, but I've spent so much time and money, the plane ticket and saving up, just to come to Germany. Just to leave after 2 months, it feels like all my work would just be wasted. That's why I'm trying to at least see if I can talk to the host mom, but I don't know what to say. I love the role and the other 2 kids minus him. Oop, for some reason, my brain just can't register it as sexual assault, even though a part of me knows it was definitely really wrong. I think I might be in some sort of shock. It's really late here and I still can't sleep. It doesn't feel that severe to me to label it that way. Every time I think about it I feel so ashamed. He's like half my age and I couldn't do anything about it. Oop, okay, I understand. Like I said, it's a lot to deal with. I'm away from my family, in this country, and now having to basically make an escape plan / worry about my safety. I'm having some difficulty processing right now. I am going to contact my agency in the morning. I just feel humiliated. I'm going to have to tell them what happened. I hope they don't ask too many questions and just see if it's possible to move me. I think also I should call my mom. But I even feel humiliated to tell her. I just feel so much shame. It's a feeling, in this context, I've never had to deal with before. Oop, yeah, considering the oldest boy's behavior, you're probably right. I wouldn't put it past him at all. Maybe he even feels vengeful towards me. My heart is literally broken though for the younger kids, especially the 14-year/0. By his reaction it seems like maybe his brother ruins a lot of connections for him. But at least he has friends from school, and his baby brother. It makes me feel somewhat better, knowing he's not completely alone. Update 1. I received a lot of people reaching out to me asking if I was okay and if I could provide an update, so I wanted to give some closure. In short, I am an au pair in Germany, and was being harassed by my host parent's son, 17 meters. He basically assaulted me. It is still hard for me to come to full terms with that word, but I now know at least that it was, in fact, what it was. Yesterday was my day off, and after reading through everyone's advice and everything, I contacted my agency that morning. I made sure to first get out of the house, so no one would overhear me, and to get away from the older boy. The younger boy, the 14-year/0, asked me if he could go with me. I was going to the library, and I didn't mind taking him, even though technically he could go by himself. I see older children walking around alone a lot in Germany. But he specifically kept asking to go with me, and like I said before, he's a really good kid to be around, so I didn't mind. I was planning to go to a closed-off area and make my phone calls while he went around looking for books, but while we were walking to the library I could tell he wanted to say something. After a while I asked if there was anything wrong, and after a bit of a pause, he asked me nervously if I was okay, and if anything happened yesterday. He said he was wondering why he didn't see me at all anymore after they came back home. I didn't say anything at first, because I didn't want to tell him inappropriate information. I told him I just had bad cramps, which was true, and wanted to sleep. But he's a smart kid, and I think then he knew, because he asked if it was because of his older brother. When I didn't say anything, I was so caught off guard by his questions. He asked if I was leaving. He honestly looked so sad. He said he was sorry, and that he hoped I don't have a bad impression of Germany now. I almost cried, because of how depressed he sounded. I told him not to worry about it, and that it had nothing to do with Germany or him or the baby, and that I'd be okay. So I finally contacted my agency when we arrived at the library. I was so nervous that I was shaking when I made the call, but they were amazing, and took everything I was saying seriously. I just told them that oldest child was making me feel unsafe, and in vague terms what happened, without going into too much detail. They understood, thankfully, what I meant, and told me that they would work on replacing me, if that's what I wanted. They also said they would reach out to the family to let them know of what was happening and of my concern with their son. I then called my mom. Being a mother, after I told her everything that had happened, she yelled at me a little, not in an abusive way, but for not telling her sooner, and told me very sternly that I was not going back to that house tonight. Even being an adult, I don't argue with my mom when she uses that type of tone. She sounded so frantic, and sent me money to stay at a hotel for a while until they found me a new placement, even though she really just wanted me to come home. I felt a lot better after talking to her. After a while, the younger boy came back over and told me, very plainly, I'm going to tell mom. He would not listen to me when I told him not to, or not to put himself in that situation. I can handle it. He seemed very angry. He tried to reassure me that his parents would listen, and that they know that older brother causes trouble sometimes. They had another girl, a few years ago, that left because of him, and everyone thought maybe he'd grown up and changed, it would be different. I stayed at the library while he went home, and just waited. I did not know what was going to happen. I already had a hotel booked by then and knew I would probably need to go back to get my stuff. About an hour and a half later, I left the library. Since the parents were at home today, I felt somewhat safe going back to get my stuff. Before I got back, I received a call. It was from my host mom. When I answered, she was very frantic. She asked me if I was okay, and where I was. When I got to the house, the parents were in somewhat of an argument. I didn't understand all of it, because they went between German and English, but I heard some words, like not again, and ruining. In short, the mother pulled me aside. She said that she wasn't aware that the oldest son was still like this. She begged me not to leave. She told me she wanted her two youngest sons to have healthy attachments to their caregivers, and that it was very hard for them to do this with the oldest. She was actually crying during all of this, and told me she doesn't know why he acts like that, but she did not raise him like that. And that while she loved her son, she was not going to tolerate that behavior anymore. She said that once he turns 18 next week, I had no idea his birthday was next week, he will have to go live with his uncle and cousin in the Netherlands, for the sake of everyone in the house. She told me they, the parents, discussed it a bit when the first incident happened, but since he seemed to act better, they dropped it at the time. When I asked where he was, she said that he left quickly when his brother came home, saying he was going to a friend's house. He probably will not be back, and she said that even if he does, she will not let him in, and will tell him to go to his aunt's, who lives not that far, until he can go to the Netherlands. She actually looked very sincere and stern when she said this, and even though the Arthur looked like he was in shock, he agreed with what she said. I didn't know how to respond to them. It was not the reaction I was expecting, but I wanted to be honest. I told her that I was going to stay at a hotel for a while, and that she will probably hear from the agency. I told her that I love the two younger boys, but I might not be back. She said she understood, but would appreciate it if I at least thought about for a day or two. Before I left, I hugged the baby and 14 years/oh bye. So that is what happened. I am safe in the hotel now. I didn't at all expect that reaction from them. I felt almost sick with worry when I wrote my first post. Of not being believed. But even though the oldest boy probably won't be back and will eventually be forced to leave, I still feel the effects of what happened lingering. I still feel vulnerable and overwhelmed when I even think about what happened. I feel so bad for the younger children. I'm not sure if I should go back or not. She told me to think about it. I will give it some time and see what my agency says first about other placements. I just wanted to thank everyone for helping me through something really difficult. But I am safe now in this hotel, and I'm not going to rush back into any situation without thinking over my options, and asking for my mom's opinion. Thank you once again. Oop, thank you, I honestly didn't think of that. It does make me feel a bit strange that they didn't tell me and, like you said, still invited another girl there after what had happened. I think the mother is maybe really hurt at her son's behavior. She was crying really hard, I actually felt bad. But still, she brought me there. The only one who seemed concerned about me before any of this happened was the younger brother. A lot of his behavior makes sense now, why he would follow the baby and I everywhere, and why he didn't really speak to his brother. I will definitely ask the agency that, though I hope it isn't true, because otherwise they've been exceptional in all other aspects. Oop, yeah, unfortunately the trust with the host parents is broken. I did receive some good news today though from the agency. They said there are 3 interested families that would like to interview with me based on my profile. They're looking to start ASAP, and I have 2 of them lined up later today, the other tomorrow. Hopefully things go well and one of them is a good fit. Thank you for your comment. I still can't help but think about the other 2 though, but the night in hotel really helped clear my head and everything. I'm going to try to make a report and get in touch with some resources I was given. Update 2. I spoke with the agency sometime earlier today and asked them if there have been other au pairs with this family. They said this is their first time placing someone with the family, and if another au pair was with the family before, it was probably through another agency, but they had no knowledge of this, and when they interviewed the family was told this was a new experience for them. I am thinking maybe the other girl was through another agency, there are a few of them. I'm not sure that all au pair agencies can see the others' networks, but they said they will look further into it. They told me that for now, they will not be placing any new girls with this family, so that gave me some peace of mind. Now on to second story, Ada for wanting to leave my fiancé due to her abusive family. I've been dating my fiancé for 4 years and have been engaged for 7 months. We are trying to plan out a wedding for roughly fall next year. Her childhood was terrible and abusive to put it mildly. Her parents were raging narcissists and she was the scapegoat for her 2 brothers. She was abused and thrown out the moment she turned 18. She was, however, a great student and hard worker, so with some scholarships and a part-time job, she has a great career and is pretty independent. The problem is is that she still had contact with her family. None of them have changed. Well, actually something has changed. They have become more financially dependent on her. They enjoy slowly creeping back into her life and emotionally blackmailing her for support or whatever she can do. They're not pleasant about it either. They're rude, smug, and generally enjoy being a nuisance. And my fiancé can't say no. No matter the horrible things they say or how they outright try and intimidate her openly. I've always known her family history and have always supported her through the issues with them, but in the last year or so they've become far more brazen and asinine. They come over to our house more often. They make messes all around the place. Her mother acts like she's the fucking stepmother from Cinderella. Her dad drinks all my fucking beer and empties out half the fridge. Her brothers stop by occasionally to act as mouthpieces for their parents. They practically trash the place and leave us to clean the mess. And where is my fiancé in all this? Quietly standing in the corner practically shaking. I'm no fool here, there is legitimate trauma. There's her need to feel loved by them and her hoping they will appreciate her. Before one of you noble commenters states the obvious, she's been in therapy for this for years. I've tried to establish boundaries. For nearly 2 years I've been trying to push these ass clowns away. But this is her house she purchased, and no matter of contributions financial or otherwise will she let me have a say on who comes into her house. She's been beaten down mentally and emotionally by them for so long. She has told me recently that she wants to earn their approval. How they were right about her. How she needs to be better for them. I've had too many emotional conversations with tears and begging to count, hoping she will take the steps to get better. But she's an adult. I can't force her to do anything. I love her, but I can't help but feel so resentful of what she's doing. It's agonizing watching someone you love, someone who you know deserves so much better, openly destroy themselves for people like her family. It's been painful watching her cry herself to sleep one too many night because of them. I've tried too many times to help her get out of their clutches. But I have to think of the future. What happens when we have kids? What happens when she is postpartum and invites them over? What happens if there is a medical emergency for either of us? What if our finances get tight and they still demand money? This is the in-law family from hell and I won't be able to avoid them. Tomorrow I'm going to tell her how I want to delay the wedding until firm boundaries are established. If she resents I walk. I can't do it anymore. I refuse to watch a slow death like this any further. Update 1. The night after I made the first post I had decided that I was going to have a heart-to-heart with my fiancé about her family. However, she came back from work the next day early and I already was off that day, so I initiated the talk a little sooner than I planned. Essentially, I told her how this arrangement was not sustainable. I did not feel comfortable marrying her due to how much involvement in her life her family has, and I certainly did not feel comfortable bringing a child into this world with them. I didn't want to tell her cold turkey no contact with them, but strict limitations to start with on them coming over, and what they can do around the house. I also requested couples therapy before marriage. She wasn't happy. She was just staring angrily at me while I spoke, then started yelling at me when I finished. She told me I don't understand their dynamic at it worked for her. I told her that they're abusive users who will bleed her dry and I have never seen them show any decency to her. She told me she just had to work harder for them to appreciate her. I basically yelled at her that a parent's child should have to beg and plead and work for them to be loved. I finally told her that she sets limits with them or I walk. She was livid, and since I was living in her house I was kicked out. So the past few days I have been staying in a hotel and have had my stuff taken out and put into storage. And frankly, it's been great. I am going to stay with family for a few weeks around mid-July, and after that I am going to go house searching for myself. I have spent the last couple days relaxing, catching up on movies and video games I haven't had time for, and could go back from work to a quiet room without her family tearing the place apart. Yesterday, however, things came to a head. We have basically been no contact since she booted me out, but I know every Saturday her family loves to spend the afternoon over and she uses me as a shield from their abuse. However, in a very petty move, I simply kept my phone muted all day and played Disco Elysium. I knew she would call back for help with her family, and at this point pure resentment was kicking in for her and I wanted nothing to do with her issues. By the end of the night she had sent me over a dozen texts and finally 2 frantic voicemails begging me to come home. I decided to come over to check up on her. Long story short, she was sobbing in the living room, and when I came to talk to her she was practically crushing my back, hugging me and sobbing. I gave her time to cool off and asked what happened. Long story short, her parents and brother came by to gift money from her and say horrible shit to her. She wanted to have me come over to help, but I was ignoring her, and when she tried to have one of her friends help out and everyone basically said fuck that, it all started clicking in for her. She kicked her family out, but not before they said some utterly vile shit to her I won't repeat. She kept apologizing to me and told me over and over to come home. I told her plainly that I had started to build up heavy resentment towards her for some time, and while I loved her and understand it was trauma and not her being outright abusive, there was major issues that would need to be addressed if we were to move forward. 1. She sells the house and moves. We make roughly the same amount of money and we will buy a house together. I am a grown-ass man and I will not live in a house I have no equal agency over. 2. Her family will never step a foot in it. They will never come over. They will be treated by me in a very threatening manner if they try and come in. 3. She gets a new therapist and we start premarital counseling. 4. She never makes me interact with her family. 5. We will go LC with her family right now, but make no mistake, we are working towards full NC on her end. I told her I love her. We have been together for a while now and have beautiful memories together, and I know she is suffering from abuse, but these are non-negotiable, and if she has a problem with any of them then we have to go out separate ways. She told me she's realized for a while now that her family is toxic and unhealthy. She wants to make changes. She has accepted, but some of these will take a while to see through. For now I'm going to stay in the hotel until I head back to stay with my family. She is welcome to come over, but I have made it clear her house is not somewhere I want to go. Her and I are both off tomorrow, so we will spend the day here and maybe go out. This is obviously not over yet, but I might not post anything else until mid-August or so. Update 2. Despite all intentions of not updating until much later with the hopes of an improved relationship with my fiancée and her establishing boundaries with her toxic family, we are now broken up. Essentially what happened was, after last weekend where I left her for the time to deal with them herself, she seemed to finally grasp the situation and was open to changes, including boundaries and a possible move. We spent Monday and Tuesday hanging out in my hotel that I was staying in until I went back to my family for a couple weeks. The other night she was being very vague with texting when she originally was supposed to come over. She came much later than expected and I knew something was up. She basically unloaded on me how I was abusive, controlling, overly demanding, and unsupportive. It took me 5 fucking seconds to figure out she was repeating verbatim some sort of rehearsed speech from her parents. And to be honest, I was so agitated at this point, despite making a huge gamble on her, I decided to be a prick about it. I asked her if her family told her to say this. She said they suggested it to her, but she came up with it herself. I asked her to explain in detail what I did. She said I was living like a parasite off her. I reminded her that I'm paying 50-50 for her fucking mortgage, 50-50 for utilities and groceries as well. I have my own car I pay for. A job that makes just about as much as hers, unlike her fucking leech parents who demand payments on the weekly and raid the kitchen on the weekends. I told her to try again with something better. She looked flustered and said I was trying to isolate her. I kinda smirked like a jackass and told her that I have always supported her many friendships that she has destroyed on her own because no one wants to deal with her family or be used as a shield like me. I was practically demanding to know at this point why she is so hellbent on destroying her life for these people. She just kinda shouted that I don't understand her family and she's just trying to earn their love back, and was boshily ranting at that point. It's just so staggering to see up close. I have ventured into a few subreddits to get perspectives, and if you have any familiarity with them you'll see how people who are victims of abuse by their own family can be so utterly broken by it that it'll wreck their brain to where they truly believe they are the problem and they deserve the abuse. Well, that's how she was. She was utterly broken and didn't want help. She didn't want to get better, she just wanted to get worse. It hit me like a truck honestly, the realization. I really did feel like a fool for trying, even if it was what I was supposed to do in the first place. She was practically berserk at this point and I was just mentally exhausted and needed her to leave before someone called the police. She finally left but I had a few concerned neighbors check on me. Some of her friends are aware as they have messaged me checking on the situation. I told them the truth and that I just needed to be alone to think what to do next right now. They have revealed that she has given them similar rants after they expressed concern for her. One had even heard that she may be possibly at risk of losing her job. She is definitely having some sort of mental break. From my understanding, she is now completely isolated. She is actually sprinting into a horrible lonely life right now. There's nothing I can do for her at this point and as selfish as it sounds I'm just glad it's going to be behind me. Update 3. Things have kinda wrapped up but there were some loose ends. I completely forgot to change my mailing address which I should have done ASAP, so a couple important things got sent to her house. I had to go pick them up plus a final couple of items I want for my move that I left there and decided I wanted to actually take. She was being difficult and not responding to messages in regards to them, so I had to go get them from her myself. I brought a mutual friend just in case. Thankfully she was at least cooperative in letting me get my stuff and it wasn't much of an issue. Everything else was though she had a lot of nasty things to say. Telling me she was already sleeping around. Telling me how happy she was now that I was gone. Telling me she's finally free of me, how she's going to be so much better off without me. A lot of generic insults and horrible things you would only expect from a nasty breakup. And you know what? It was so fucking obvious it was a rehearsed script from her family and you could easily see how miserable she was. She looked like a mess, like she hasn't slept in days. The house was a mess. She wasn't even yelling it. She sounded so exhausted and broken when she said it. She didn't even smile when she said anything. Just a face contorted in hate and anger. She was not the woman I knew anymore. That person was gone when I was getting ready to leave. She was still going on. I was fed up and told her something along the lines of congratulations. Your friends are gone. Your human shields are gone. Your engagement is over. Your support is gone. Anyone who ever treated you like a decent human being is gone. It's just you and your family. I hope you're happy while they bleed you dry. It probably didn't go like that, but something like it. She just stood there. Literally just stood there and looked at me with indifference and walked away as I walked out the door. As we were leaving, the mutual friend Tiffany asked if I was okay. I reassured her I was and I'm just trying to get myself set up to go home next week. She also confirmed that she hears my ex did lose her job for not showing up for several days and basically ghosting them. They're going to try an intervention next week and asked if I could participate, but I'm not delaying my travel because frankly I just want a clean break. I know for a fact that if I stay involved I'm only going to be witnessing the slow descent to either a full break or a suicide. I just can't do that. Despite all this I'm actually excited for the future and I have realized that I ignored way too many red flags at the beginning. Even with everything that happened I know I'll be doing good and I'm going to be alright.